Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. Is it the last recap Friday? Phillies, what is you doing? The whole NL East is up for grabs. More Shohei. Let's get it. Players only. Hello and welcome back to Talkin' Baseball. Myself, Trevor Plouffe, BBD on the ones and twos. Friday, September 30th, the last day of September, which to baseball fans, that only means one thing. Well, October's here. I guess that means the same to the rest of society, but playoffs. Trev, I'm juiced up. You saw I came in hot today outfit-wise. I've got my Eduardo Cabrera necklace. I had the hater blockers on. I'll be in the ballpark hoping to see Aaron Judge's 62 home run tonight as we finish off these playoff races, which have been a little come see, come saw. BBD bleeped that out. But with the Brewers making something out of it, or the Phillies making something out of it in the NL wildcard, and the whole NL East basically being up for grabs this weekend in Atlanta, who luckily, and if we have people listening who are affected by it, the hurricane, I mean, it was a real one. It was a real one, and that gets scary, and it was looking like it was going to hit Atlanta. It's not going to go there anymore, so we'll get that, but Trev, getting nasty in Calabasas. How are you, my good man?
I'm doing well. You did come in hot. You had the shades on. I came in. I'm looking good, but I had like a soy protein shake. Not, it's like, look how little it looks in my hand. I didn't look great. So I asked you, do I need to change?
Yeah.
And then you've toned it down for the episode. So I appreciate that. But in all seriousness, I do want to send our well wishes out to the Gulf side of Florida. I spent many a days out there along Fort Myers Beach, at the Lani Kai, along the pier there, and all that stuff is devastated and gone. So, I don't know. We'll look for some donation links. We'll put them in the description down here. But our best wishes out there. Hopefully, everyone's staying as safe as possible. It's a big deal, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. Mike Trout tweeting about it because he loves the weather. And he said that in his tweet. So yeah, we've got that craziness going on. All our Florida people and everyone else. I think South Carolina's next. Wishing you the best, and hopefully maybe you can be distracted by some early playoff baseball. And there's a lot of big topics this episode. Red Sox fans, I'd love to talk to you about Tristan Casas, maybe this offseason, and maybe in Fuego. And a couple other of your favorite teams might not get the big shout this episode, but people, less than a week left. We're doing this, and there are some big topics we got to crunch. And Trev mentioned looking good. You know what else can make you look good? How about some cuts? Fellas, there's no one I know who has more style than professional athletes. Your thought on that statement, Trev?
It could go both ways. I've seen some pretty bad styled professional athletes.
And it's players
Michael
only
Kadire
on here.
Comes to mind.
Who?
Michael Kadire comes to mind.
Yeah, Kid Cudi wasn't known for his swag.
No.
Tyler O'Neill, though. And what a lot of these pro ball players are wearing now is cuts. I've read you the list. I'll do it again because these are real ones. Bryce Harper, Walker Buehler, Mariano Rivera. Goat emojis in the chat. Cuts, they've got their long sleeve Henley, short sleeve crew neck. Find the shirt you like. Cuts has it. They're engineered to last and won't fall apart after a few washes. Join the hundreds of thousands of men who have already made the simple decision to elevate their wardrobe with Cuts, and you will get 15% off your first order at cutsclothing.com/baseball. That's Cuts, CUTS clothing.com /baseball for 15% off, the only shirt worth wearing.
I see guys wearing these all the time. You know what? Every time they have it on, I'm like, dude, you look jacked. And I know you're not jacked. So there's something going on there as well. I guess cuts have a nice cut to them, if you will. Pun intended.
Felt like a pun intended.
Yes. Hey, let me say something before we start. This right here, I'm in uniform. I don't know if you know that. I'm in uniform.
You look so good, and you're promoting the company. Yeah.
Stop talking. Let me finish. Okay. It's playoff time. I'm in playoff mode. This is it. Playoff Lenny, playoff Trev. Here we go. You know I never got to do it as a player, so you know on this side of the things, I'm ready to go. Playoffs is all I care about. From here on out, people. I'm sorry.
It's that time of year. That's what, my whole entrance, baseball
playoff
people,
atmosphere, too. I'm in for that.
October. Rocktober in Denver. BBD, let's do the National League. I will bat leadoff. Powerful. Aaron Judge leading off, people are saying.
Short King coming to the big leagues.
My people, we are starting out in Flushing's, Queens, where the Mets played a 2-gamer with the Marlins. They lose the first one 6-4. That NL East lead. What's happening? Some heroics in the second game every day. 5-tool light. Eddie Escobar, how's your 5 RBIs? Putting the team on your back. Greg Jennings. They split 2. Also the highlight from this series, if you didn't see Dick Blyer called for 3 balks, well, that's baseball. Go check that out. Teaser, there might be a breakdown coming soon. In the National League East, the Atlanta Braves took 2 out of 3 from the Nats. Trev will tell you, respect your elders. And Bryce dropped it. Power sinkers. Power sinkers. It's here. It's off the table. Pitch Ninja. We'll talk about that a little bit. But the Nats, how important will this be in the coming weeks? They scrapped together a C.J. Abrams walk-off in the final game. Georgia native excited to do it against the Atlanta Bravos. Hey, Phillies, what did we say? Don't slip up. The one thing you can't do is slip up. They've gone and they've slipped up. They got swept by the Cubs. I texted Ian Happ. I said, nice catch, because he had a nice catch the other day. Cubs 2-1, 4-2, 2-0. Where's your offense, Philly? Oh, no, the Cubs sweep the season series 6-0? Rob Thompson, Topper, says we got to keep same approach every day. I don't know. We're running out of days. Might have to mix some up, Topper. Cubs sweep in Wrigley. Wow, Phillies Reddit is talking about their favorite Phillies collapses. Scary stuff in Philadelphia. The Padres and the Dodgers. The Dodgers, wooga, wooga, wooga. They are the boogeyman for the Padres. We told the Padres to get one, and they did. That first game, Jorge Alfaro. I wanted to finish the game. It's not a secret. I don't walk that much, and he walks it off. How about that? 4-3 Padres, and then Urias coming for that Cy Young. He drops it all over the Padres. Dodgers, they are looking to figure out their playoff format. Some interesting lineup stuff with them in their outfield. We'll see how much Dodger chatter we get today. Brewers, Cardinals. Cardinals clinch the first game. They're popping bottles of the ice, getting slizzard. Good times. We love a celebration. Lars Nootbaar living his best life on Miles Michaelis Day. And the Brewers come back. Woodruff. Brandon Woodruff comes alive this time of year. Man, he drops one. Brewers, Craig Tember has kind of happened. They are in the mix, people. Giants, they swept the Rockies. Might not mean much to you. They're back up to 500. I could see the Giants doing some sort of like, oh, we haven't had a losing record in 5 years. Don't really care. Rodon shoves, go get paid. My man got Trev with that. And your favorite series of the weekend, Jack Sawinski. Miguel Andujar. Roll your R's when you Andujar. And Kevin Newman with the walk-off signal. Pirates sweep the Reds. What action it was. We'll dive heavy into that. And that's what happened in the National League. I'll snap for myself.
You're on fire, bro. I almost wish you had the shades on to block the haters out, because you know what? They're always coming for you. That's what happens when you're on the top, Jake.
I'll taste other dudes.
I think the haters come out big if I throw on those shades. The standings.
My boy Jake.
And what's important in this National League race. The New York Mets and the Atlanta Braves are separated by 1 game. The Mets 98 and 58. Man, if they win 1 in Atlanta, that would give them the tiebreaker. We're going to talk about all of that. Atlanta's a game back. Philly 14.5 back in the division. They're chasing other things. The Cardinals clinch 90-win season, 90 and 66 as we stand here today. Milwaukee will get to you in the wild card. Dodgers 108 in the bag. Okay. That's
franchise record.
That's insane. Padres 86 and 70, and like I got Trev with, the San Francisco Giants are at 78 and 78. Not technically eliminated as we sit here today. Keep fighting the fight, Gabe Kapler and the boys. Now Longoria is going to be all over our Instagram. The wild card and what you need to know. The Atlanta Braves are locked and dialed in that spot unless they catch the Mets. The San Diego Padres are 2.5 up on the Phillies, and the Phillies are a half game up on the Milwaukee Brewers. Phillies are 83 and 72 on a 5-game losing streak. Come on, Phillies. While the Brew Crew, they actually lost last night after splitting with the Cardinals. So, my boy Trev, we'll go Cron. And we'll go even east to west, I think. Let's talk some Mets. Because Eddie Escobar and his performance, you may hear later in the show, what could be a massive season-saving win. I mean, we won't get fully dramatic, but incredible. The Balk series. I'll piggyback it. The Braves took down the Nats like we talked about. Elder with a great performance. Some of the usual characters. Ronnie Acuna hitting casual bombs. This Braves-Mets series, I think we circled it at the start of the year. I think we circled it at the middle of the year. And we're circling it now. We're teeing off for 3 in Atlanta.
I'm mad that we're not allowed to talk about Eddie Escobar right now. You got him for later in the show. I understand that. But a day after you lose to the Marlins, Cookie Carrasco has a tough start. The umpires try to give you the game by calling 3 balks on Blyer.
Free run.
You lose that game. And C. Rose and I did a segment on this. Is this next game like a must win? And we said it kind of is. And Eddie Escobar did it. I'll let you have that. But boy, do I want to talk about him. This series is great. Braves had a chance to sweep the Nats. That would have been something, in the 10th inning there of that last game. They send up the top of their lineup with the runner on second base, and they get nothing. And C.J. Abrams, walk-off knock. I mean, think about just how big that is, man. You have your guys up, you come up empty-handed, you lose the game. You're 1 game back, but the tiebreaker is there for the Mets taken. And I'm just going to say this right now. It's essentially a 2-game lead.
Right.
These two teams are so evenly matched. This series coming up is going to be so awesome. But the season series already has been so evenly matched between these two teams. I don't see anybody sweeping anything. I just don't see that happening. Braves could win 2 out of 3. Mets could win 2 out of 3. I don't know. I don't see anybody sweeping. And if that happens, Mets have the tiebreaker, and it becomes a much more insurmountable lead if they have that extra game. And there's 6 games left, people.
And Travis,
but this is everything you asked for. Everything is lined up. The horses are there. The pitching matchups. Did you say the pitching matchups yet? Because I will.
I have not. I would love to hear you tell me the pitching matchups.
Max Fried, one of the hottest guys in all of baseball.
Sneaky hot.
One of the best pitchers in all of baseball.
Sneaky
going up
good.
Against probably the best pitcher in baseball, Jacob deGrom.
The best.
You guys like that?
I love it. Fire me up.
Like it? Kyle Wright, unsung hero of the Braves. Nobody talks about Kyle Wright. Really, nobody talks about Max Fried either.
1999 Cy Young winner, Kyle Wright, if you look at the stats. 20 wins.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then you have Bassett versus Morton. And I like this. Talk about guys that you could just stick in the 1930s and they'd be like, yeah, that works. Does that make any sense to you?
Bassett and Morton are both like the guy who dates your ex after you and you pretend not to be pissy about it, but you're like, damn, like, I don't know, kind of tall, like kind of nasty. Like,
No, they're great, but I mean, you've seen Bassett like kind of throw the ball. He's got a little funk. It looks like he could pitch in the 50s or the fucking 40s. I don't know, man. And Charlie Morton has pitched in the 30s and 40s. He's been around for that long.
Charlie Morton. Yeah, it's lined up like a playoff series. You listed the names. I know I talked over Scherzer, who's the highest decorated pitcher of that crew, and has an argument to be an all-time like starting 5 pitcher. And I think the one thing I want to harp on before we really get into it, the Nats win in extra innings and that final game. The Metropolitans win in extra innings in that final game. That's like a 2-game swap. If the Braves won and the Mets lost, we are approaching this weekend so differently. The Mets basically have to win 1 game because they do have the tiebreaker. If they win 1, they need to win 1 this weekend to have the tiebreaker. And then even if the Braves take the next 2, they'd be tied. But the Mets, they'd be in the driver's seat. They control their own destiny. Obviously, Mets fans are looking for more than that. But you talk about how much changed in those extra inning games against the Marlins and the Nats. If you're a Braves fan, I'd be circling that as like I hope we don't regret that one. I hope we don't regret that one.
The storylines are there. This series is going to be nuts. One of the bigger storylines to come out of this is the promotion of Francisco Alvarez by the New York Mets. He's their top prospect. He is a short king, people. He's listed at 5'10", which means he's 5'8".
Yes.
Okay. And he's built like Jake, like a box.
Powerful.
He's got pop like Jake. He hits bombs. Yeah. Okay. From all accounts, and I got to talk with a Mets fan this morning, he's going to come up in DH against lefties. He rakes lefties. Well, who's pitching tonight? Max Fried. Where are you going to be? Atlanta. What's going on? Oh, just a postseason-like series for the division. Welcome to the show, kid. I talked with Peter about this. Like, he thinks it's awesome and it's different nowadays with rookies coming up. It's like, hey, you're part of this. Come do your thing. Whereas when we came up, it was like, don't fuck it up type mentality. This is my question I asked Peter. I'm going to ask you the same thing. Wouldn't you rather have just called this guy up like last week to, get his feet wet a little bit before you stick him in the lion's den with Max Fried, who's stunningly good looking on the mound?
Right. It's really tricky. So I want to see how they deploy him. Like you said, if it's truly he is their lefty platoon DH, because I think Darren Ruff has struggled for them, and that's who he was supposed to be when he came over, then I don't have as much of a qualm with it. Because I call this the Storielli call-up, because it's the weird mix between desperate and cool. if this kid comes up and he's nails and he plays great, like, wow, what a boost and what a cool thing you've done. If he does come up and he has a bad couple baseball games, which any player can do, Prime Barry Bonds had a couple bad days. Never mind any rookie, even though it's a top 10 prospect. If you don't know, Francisco Alvarez, top 10 prospect in baseball. Like Trev said, listed 5'10", 233. So we're probably talking 5'8 and a half, 255 on the Storielli meter. Some of the clips are badass. He is 20 years old. He cannot legally drink. Get ready for that if he ends up on the Mets playoff roster. And Trev, I thought what was interesting, he's mauled lefties. He's one dotted versus lefties this year in the minors. So, okay, I can be talked into that. The other thing that I thought was really important, and Baseball Reference, for those of you who are baseball nuts like us, and you all are, you listen to this. Baseball Reference, when you go on the minor league players pages, they now have splits that you could check out their game logs. You could check out their last month. You could check out their last 7 days. And I think it's really important because Francisco Alvarez's stats in AAA this year won't blow you away. And I was a little worried at first. But because again, is it a desperate move by the Mets? His last 28 days, this kid, 362, 483, a 1.079. So, I think he struggled a little bit early in AAA. I think the light bulb started to go off. And hey, if you've got the button to press, why not press the button? I'm excited, but whoa, Nelly, you want to talk about is it unfair to put the kid in that spot? Max Fried? Like, think about everything you just said, Trev. I don't know.
It's wild. So his manager there, I think it's Syracuse, is a former manager of mine, Kevin Bowles. I had Kevin for a couple different years in the minor leagues, and some of his quotes about him were like, he knows how good he is.
Right.
But it's the rare combination of I'm this good with the work ethic. He said that is kind of what has separated Francisco in his mind, and will give him the ability to come up here and have this success. And why they're not scared to do this is because the guy is like, he has that confidence that you need, but he also pairs it with the work ethic. I hate the false bravado. When teams try to have a moniker at the beginning of the season, I always tell people, hey man, it's hard to have that thing all year long. Certain guys like Francisco are built to have that confidence and to come up in these situations. This is what Kevin Bowles is saying about this guy. We'll see if it actually comes true, but it sounds like to me he's like an impact bat. They brought in Ruff to be their guy against lefties. He's struggled. That's the bottom line. So they're looking to get some offense there from that DH position. And it'd be awesome to see him go off in these couple of days and earn a postseason spot. I don't know if this is an audition, if he's just going to be on the roster. Like, that's kind of weird to have such a small sample size dictate if you make the freaking playoff roster or not, but it kind of seems like that's the way it is, right?
Yeah, and I guess I'm glad you had that tidbit about him being the first lefty DH, because James McCann they brought in, he hasn't hit much in his time with the New York Mets. And you hope the kid makes us have fun conversations, right? Like, if he comes up and he is special, which he's supposed to be, if we could start having some Mets playoff conversations, do you put the kid behind the dish? Do they put him behind the dish late in the game? I mean, that gets crazy. I'd almost rather tell him, hey, you're starting, kid, and then go to McCann late. I hope he opens up those conversations, because that would be incredible.
I don't think
he
might
not get there.
I don't think he catches. From everything that I've read, and like I said, I talked to some Mets fans. We got some Mets fans in the chat. Let me know if I'm wrong here, but I think he's primarily coming up, not primarily, like strictly coming up to be a bat against lefties. And if he earns extra bats, maybe we have him as a permanent DH. But I don't think he gets behind the plate. You can't learn the pitchers, man.
Right.
That's too much too late
and
for this guy.
Buck Showalter, I doubt he would do that. So, I don't know. It's a fun wrinkle. And, Trev, I think you were looking for an answer. I unfortunately think it's a play the result, and which is so unfair to this kid. I mean, if he gets a hit against Max Fried, that's unreal. You know?
That's all he has to, is that all he has to do? Just like get one knock and you're golden?
And then what?
Peter and I talked about it this morning. We're like, okay, what does he got to do to earn that next start? And we're like, go pump one off of Fried. I mean, that's basically what you have to do.
Or, hey, kid, here's AJ Minter and Tyler Matzik, who just, basically locked up a World Series for the Braves. Why don't you pinch hit against them?
It seems like that would be like what they're probably going to do. We'll start tonight. He might get pinch hit for later by Vogelbach if there's
right.
A harsh right. I don't know. That's a possibility. He probably doesn't start tomorrow because Kyle Wright, and then maybe you do save him to come off the bench against those guys late in the game. I mean, that seems like the most likely scenario. I don't know if Buck just wants to throw him in there and say, "Hey, get a bunch of at-bats right now."
Right.
We'll see.
It's as a storyline fan, I love it.
Yes.
I just
Short King fan.
I don't fully know what it means. Seems like he's got that story Ellie swag to him. I think I might have seen a cat scratch on the eyebrows. And yeah, I've it's easy when you only see the highlights, but the highlights of him catching big boy homers are big boy homers. So hopefully it's the cherry on the top for the Mets season. And on Monday we're talking about them and how strong their year was, or we could be sitting here on Monday saying it's uh-oh season. So should be fantastic baseball. I think if your team is out of it, I might enthuse you to go click over. I'm probably going to be clicking over if I'm going to be honest with you. And again, Eddie Escobar talk coming. And Ronnie Acuna, did you see the homers, Trev? Just so violent. His year overall numbers aren't there. There's so
they
few.
all reset, bro, in the playoffs. That's the beauty of it, man.
Exactly. There's something about when he does it, man. It's just like, Mike, he hurts baseballs.
He's got a beautiful swing. It's a combination of like elegance with brutality. Like it's so smooth, and when you watch a Tiger Woods golf swing, you're like, oh shit. Like, that's what a golf swing's supposed to look like. I feel like you get that with Ronnie Acuna. When he's on, you get that. Like, oh, that's what a proper baseball swing looks like. Mike Trout has that too. His is like, it's so efficient, but sometimes I don't think it's as pretty as some other ones. Do you know what I mean with that?
Yes.
Like, Mike Trout is just like the most efficient swing in baseball. Like, he generates the most power. It's the best bat path. It's so direct, but there's something about the way guys finish with the one hand and everything that I think adds a little bit of beauty to the swing. It might not be the best for your swing, but I think there's a little bit of difference. I think people get that.
Trout does not have the prettiest of swings, which is funny because of how good he is, but it works. Sure as heck works. That's your Braves, Nats. I think the Philadelphia Phillies, Trevor. We should keep it out east. What's up?
Give it to him. What is you doing, baby?
Phillies.
5 L's in a row. Swept by the Cubs throughout the season in a time where you needed just to win a few games here. And I can give another what is you doing, baby, to the Brewers, who they've closed the gap, but they could have pounced. They could have been up 2 or 3 games by now with the way Philly has been playing in September. And they just have not done it. It's actually made – I said earlier, I think I'm rooting for the Phillies to get into the playoffs over the Brewers because they've tried harder, I think. They've went out and signed guys. They've made deadline moves, whatever it may be. And for some reason, I just really want to see Bryce Harper do his thing in the postseason. But neither of these teams is inspiring me right now to be like, hey, let's go get it. Like, they're just not – it's an uninspiring brand of ball. And we're not going into this too much, but last night, what a heartbreak for the Brewers.
Yeah.
Up 2-0. You bring Peralta in. First time ever not starting a game this year. He's not stretched out. So they put him in a high leverage situation, gets into some trouble. 1-2 heater. And Mini Miggy, Abisail, man. Yeah. Fucking pumps him. 4-2. And I watched the last inning, and I could just had one walk and nothing else after that, man.
Former team for Abisail.
Man.
We are at the point of the season where those losses hurt 2-3 times as much because you're in the playoff race, and they can, at the end of the day, one of these teams is going to be now devastated. We didn't know. The Brewers, after the All-Star break, started limping, and it was kind of, oh boy, how much are they going to limp? When is it going to stop? Because it's baseball, the tide always turns, but how and when? They kind of changed the tide, and they started going. The Phillies, we applauded them because they kept their head above water without Bryce. And then you kind of heard it in my voice when I saw they were finishing on this road trip, who it should not have been daunting. Cubs, Nats, and you got 4 against the Nats. You can make all of this go away. But then they finish with the Houston Astros, who are lining up Urquidy, McCullers, and Verlander. I don't know. The Phillies have the second longest playoff drought in baseball, I believe, to the Mariners. So when the Mariners clinch tonight or tomorrow, I think in theory they'll have the longest. One of these teams is going to be heartbroken. Milwaukee has had recent success, and now that they're reeled in, they are at home versus Miami in Arizona. I almost have nothing, Trev. Like one of these teams is going to show us in the next couple days, and one of them's not. Like that's what analysis can you really give?
There's not, and this is what I said. I think the Phillies have a doubleheader today. And are they playing already? Has it started?
They have their doubleheader today. I'm not sure if.
And I think Hoskins homered already.
Up 1-0.
Yep.
Let's go, Reeser. I said that you can bank on a split today. It's just very hard to sweep a doubleheader. If you bank on a split today, that means these teams are basically even going into today, I guess you could say. And then the thing about it is, I believe Philly has the tiebreaker.
Philly does.
We do have the tiebreaker. What am I talking about? It's just it's going to come down to it. Like either one of these teams is going to be backing into the playoffs. They're not going to be rushing into the playoffs unless something crazy happens and they go on a little run here, which Milwaukee basically has to do. Like at this point now, they have to play perfect baseball. I think they can afford maybe one more loss in these 6 games.
If you are the Philadelphia Phillies, here's the one thing I ask of you. Do not put your season on the line on the last day of the season versus Justin Verlander. That is the one thing I beg of you, Phillies, because I know how that story ends. And I don't think you want to know how that story ends.
And Dusty has come out and said he'll manage the game the right way. He'll play his guys because it means something in the race. That means something. You know, if you're Milwaukee, you're like, thank you, Dusty, for that. But I don't know how much he's not going to manage it like a playoff game. You get Justin Verlander for 5 innings. Flip it to the bullpen. They're not going to be making crazy moves, stuff like that. I mean, I don't know, man. I've said it before. I don't like the fucking no game 163 thing. I think we're going to see this thing tied and the tiebreaker come in. That's just like the gut feeling that I have. And it's going to be heartbreaking, like you said.
Phillies and Brewers, someone win us over.
There's a lot of chatter in our chat right now about the Giants can still do it because they do have the tiebreaker over both teams. I don't know, man. Go Giants, go. Go Gabe Kapler.
Go Giants, go. Let's shock the world. You and the Orioles are the only 2 non-eliminated teams that we're not really going to deep dive on today. But happy for Gabe Kapler's merry bunch. Yeah, I mean the Cardinals clinch, good for them. They deserve handshakes and high fives. We kind of game out before, but again, how the actual day they pop bottles and celebrate is as fun of a day as you get as a fan. I mean, some of the pictures and images. I know Newt Bar was going nuts. I know, Yankee fans, Nestor was having beer poured down his pants, all the good stuff. If you got a minute to give some love to the Cardinals on their season, I think they deserve it.
Well, I mean, essentially, they became the bullies of that division when we didn't think that was really like kind of the dynamic there. We thought they were kind of neck and neck with the Brewers. I think for the most part, everyone thought the Brewers were going to be the better team this year. And they had some guys there in St. Louis absolutely step up and what Goldie and Arenado have done, the young guys coming up. There's so many people you could mention because it really has been a team effort. You love some Tommy Edman. We know that, Jake. And like I said, they just eventually became the bullies in that division. What's their lead right now? They're up 7 games on Milwaukee, dude. They pulled away with it. And it's exciting to see because I think that there isn't a super clear-cut favorite in these playoffs. I told Peter this morning, I think the Astros have the best chance because I think they have the best chance to get to the World Series in my mind. But the Cardinals are well equipped to go win a World Series. And I think that's a really cool feeling to have as a fan base. If you're in St. Louis, you're stoked, man. You're stoked on the acquisitions you made during the year. You're stoked that Jack Flaherty has come back and he's looked pretty damn good. They are poised. They have the storyline too. Jake Story-Alley loves the storyline. They got the old guys, the swan song. It's all lining up, man. So, like I said, if you're a Cardinals fan, it's amazing right now for you.
You can just make it make sense, right? Waino's Waino. I mean, Helsley at the end of that bullpen. Gallegos has gotten it back on track. And then, all the guys Goldschmidt, Arenado, you think Albert's not going to have a moment this postseason? I wouldn't bet against it. Lars Nootbaar.
All those lefties with the Dodgers.
They, congrats to the Cardinals. They ran away with a division that we didn't think would be a runaway. And they get to pop bottles and have a good time. Friend of the pod, Katie Wu, with some great coverage of that.
Hey, the Padres haven't clinched, have they?
They have not technically clinched. They are 2.5 up on the Phillies, so they're 3 games up. We talked about a little bit. They had to survive this Dodgers series, and they won 1 game. They won the first game. They finish off at home against the White Sox and the Giants. So I don't know. It felt a lot more daunting at the start of the year finishing with the White Sox and the Giants. Padres, please don't join the Phillies and have the conversation we just had.
I said they had to win one of these games against the Dodgers. They're going to be in the playoffs. I stand by that. I mean, they're up 3 games with 6 to play. They're going to be in the playoffs. God, I hope I just didn't give them the kiss of death right there.
The White Sox are still
declare them dead real quick, Trev.
The White Sox are still limping pretty hard, and I think when they play the Giants, their season may be done. So we'll see. I think our bigger Padres check-in will probably be on Monday's ep. And for the Dodgers, some interesting things going on. Gonsolin expected to return Monday. Kid Vargas playing good in the outfield. Their outfield's a really interesting conversation between Taylor and Gallo and Belly and Thompson. But these are all side questions to a record-breaking season for them. So, good for you, Dodgers. Yet again.
The Dodgers is like when your coach tells you to run, but he doesn't tell you how long you're going to run for. And it seems like you've been running for a long time, and then he finally says, "Okay, this is what you're doing," and it's like way longer. That's what the lineup feels like. You think you're going to get through it. You get through 5 or 6 people, and like, nope. It keeps going and going and going, and people beat you day in and day out. Different people in that lineup, different people in that bullpen. It's a never-ending cycle of good players, well above average players.
They're stacked. Trev, you want to bring us through your American League?
My people, we are going to start out in one of my favorite cities, Toronto. The Yankees go in and they take 2 of 3. Blue Jays win the first game 3-2 on the Vladdy walk-off. This is my house, and that's true, it is. That is where you play your home games at Vladdy. I love it. It's awesome. It's setting up to be a big series. And then the Yankees take over 5-2, 8-3. They end up taking 2 of 3. They end up clinching there. They end up hanging out in Vladdy's house, celebrating, drinking champagne. And oh yeah, by the way, Judge, it's number 61 in game 3. 117 miles off the bat. Are you kidding me? Yankees are stacked. They're 17-7 in September. My goodness, after going 10-18 in August. Way to go, Yanks. Snaps for you. Toronto also is in the playoffs. They clinched a playoff spot. Seeding up for grabs. Speaking of seeding, moving on. Rays at Guardians. This one's actually, as the playoffs stand right now, this would be the matchup. It would be in Cleveland, and Cleveland just showed they can do it. They win 2 out of 3. 6-5 Rays in extras in the first game before the Guardians won the next one 2-1, showing good tutelage, winning in 10 while winning the next game 2-1. I just made that up on the spot. How about it? I watched some of these games, bro.
Wow.
It was Guardians baseball. They kept beating plays out to first base. Miles Straw, you are so fast. Stephen Kwan, you are so fast. They run the bases. Everything that people say about them and how pesky their offense is damn true. They take 2 or 3 from the Rays in what could be a playoff matchup. Speaking of playoffs, the Mariners hosted the Rangers. They took 2 of 3. Their magic number is 1. They can clinch tonight. We had a J.P. Crawford walk-off single. It went 5-0 Rangers before the Mariners did the damn thing, 3-1, and then 10-9. That last game was the J.P. Crawford walk-off. Everyone is saying they've been visualizing what it's like to clinch, and they're going to end up doing it in the real world, which is also a simulation. So that's kind of like an inception point right there. Moving on, White Sox at the Twins. Twins playing some good ball. They're ready for the offseason. They take 2 or 3. We are going to mention a guy on the Twins later in the show. White Sox, you dead to me. I wore a freaking paper bag over my head with your jersey on it yesterday because that's how you're making me feel. 4-0 Twins, 8-4 Twins before the White Sox won the last Giolito start 4-3. In other news around the AL, the Orioles went into Boston and Red Sox took 3 of 4. Don't really care about this one. Red Sox do it. Orioles, that kind of hurts you right there a little bit. 14-8. They won the first one before the Red Sox went 13-9, 3-1, 5-3. I believe we got 2 more series that don't matter. A's at Angels. The Angels sweep. Bout time. 4-3 Angels, 4-1 Angels, 4-2 Angels. The show good 4-2. Shohei almost throws a no-hitter. He's the best player in all of baseball, but somehow he's not going to win MVP. We'll talk about that a little bit. In the last series, Royals at Tigers. Tigers sweep. A little bit too little, too late. 4-3 Tigers and extra. Harold Castro with the walk-off. Then it went 2-1 Tigers, 10-3 Tigers. And I'm Diffie, so I will do the interleague recap. D-backs at Astros. Jake Snakes versus my Astros. They split. 10-2 Astros in Game 1. 5-2 D-backs in extra innings. They went 10 there. Zach Gallen, another great start. Verlander matched him 2. Your boy, Barshow, go ahead, RBI. And that's what happened in the rest of the league in baseball.
Powerful stuff as always. Trevor, in the American League, the wild card is a situation, but the East is won by my Yanks. They're 96-59. Really strong year for them. I know we had a scary month and a half. Outside of that, I mean, the Yankees had been really, really good this year. They clinch the East. Toronto has clinched a playoff spot. 87 wins. Tampa, 85-71. Baltimore, let's circle up on them in the wild card. The Central is finished. The Cleveland Guardians have clinched. Everyone else will not be invited to the party, and that's your AL mid. And the Houston Astros, like Trevor mentioned, 102 in the bank. They're lining up for the playoffs. The Seattle Mariners, I believe their magic number is 1. And like I told you, if you enjoy a good poppin' bottles celebration, Seattle, I bet they might have a bang-up one tonight. The wild card is where the AL has its most exciting drama. The Blue Jays are in 87-69. All right. Seattle Mariners 85-70. The Rays 85-71. Baltimore, the only other team alive, and they are 5 back. Doesn't look good for the Birds. Gonna be honest. But the seeding is what becomes the story, as Mariners and Rays have tiebreakers over the Blue Jays. The whole thing will and can get shuffled over the next few days. So, Trevor, in the AL, where do you want to bring us?
We'll start with the Yanks clinching the division. After a horrible August, you guys kept saying, well, we're not really trying. We're going to try again in September. And I guess, was that the plan? It worked or something?
Some guys came back from injuries, and we were playing for October and August. In September, we were playing for September a little bit.
I thought it was a great series there. Again, Vlad with the walk-off and then the Yankees clinching. I mean, it's kind of what you want to do. If you're not going to clinch at home, you want to go clinch, up in one of your rivals' places, right in their face. I mean, I think that might even be better, to be honest with you. It's nice to clinch with your fans at home, but to do it and silence a crowd and then have the guys in the dugout watching you because they want that feeling so they never feel it again. Which is weird. Why do you want to watch other people celebrate? Whatever. I guess, we got to talk about the homer.
Yeah. So
I have some questions for you on the Judge homer. You've probably covered it so much with Talking Yanks. First, congrats to him. 61 is a magical number. The Maris family was there in attendance. Like I said, it was 117 miles off the freaking bat. He's just been incredible this year. He is going to win the MVP. I'm convinced of it, even though I think Shohei has a very good, should have a good chance at it. He won't. How do you feel about the Maris Jr.'s quotes there about 61 being the legitimate number? Where do you land on that?
Man, I don't disagree. I guess that's the easiest answer I can give. The best way I phrase it, and I compare it to a very big moment in John Boy media history. The Athletic writes the article about the Astros, that they're cheating, they're using a trash can, and you're like, wow, okay, the Astros, damn, okay, wow. My good friend, the Jambino, who will be with us throughout the playoffs on Talkin' Baseball, he made a video and posted it on the internet. And when you heard and saw the bang graphic pop up and you heard it with your ears, you said, holy crap, these dudes know what pitch is coming. When you look at the home run record, most home runs in a season, and the only guys above Roger Maris are McGuire, Sosa, and Bonds. 3 guys not allowed into the Hall of Fame because of what they were doing. It changed how I felt. Like I know steroids, eating one steroid and hitting one home run doesn't have a direct correlation. Bonds, Sosa, and McGuire are badass ball players, and they should be in the Hall. But man, when you see that list and those 3 are the only guys above them, it's kind of like, damn. Like, the home run record is arguably the most prestigious record in sports. And how crazy it would be if Bonds, McGuire, and Sosa's numbers weren't in that little book. The pandemonium that would have been going on the past month would have been so much crazier. And you put that in a win and a loss column because the stress almost killed Maris and stuff like that. But I do like that they just keep saying that he's tied for the AL record and you keep it moving because it's either way, it's amazing.
It sounds everyone plays both sides on when they get asked that question. I feel like the media is playing both sides because they do like we are propping this thing up like it is the home run record. Okay, like did we ever talk about the National League record being broken when McGwire was and Sosa were doing it? No, we're talking about 61.
Yeah.
But now we're focusing on Judge at 61 because it's a AL record. And a caller on Baseball Today made this point to me and actually struck me pretty hard because I'm on the fence too. I'm like, I agree. Like those numbers there are steroid driven, but if you start taking those away, you can start talking about amphetamines and pretty much every other guy that's ever played the game of baseball before 2008, 9, whatever the hell, when we started not giving people Adderall and you were testing for amphetamines, all that shit. Like those numbers are in question. And what he said was, if we say now that 61 is a legitimate record and the Judge breaks it and he's hit 62, what happens if he hits 74 next year? Are we going to talk about how he broke Bond's record? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's and that's the problem because
it exists, bro. 73 exists. It happened.
How good Barry, Mark, and Sammy were is awesome and shouldn't be forgotten, but it needs an asterisk. It just does. And you know what? I think if the commish or whoever went up to Barry, Sammy, and Mark and said, hey, you know, we're making it official. You guys are in the hall. We're putting asterisks on your stuff. And that is what it is. I think they shake that hand. Maybe not Barry. Barry's an interesting guy.
I don't think Barry would. And again, dude, I mean, I don't want to go into this because this is not the show for it, but amphetamines and anabolic steroids have different effects on your body, but I would say that they correlate similarly. Like amphetamines, making sure you're ready every single day, hyped up, ready to go over a long season. Like that is how you stack numbers.
Yeah.
So like, and that was absolutely prevalent in all the clubhouses for 60 years, bro. So you start talking about putting asterisks next to Bonds and McGwire and taking these records away. Well, dude, we gotta fucking start talking about everybody.
There's no easy answer, and that's
so let's get away from that.
Yeah, I just always end up saying, go put Griffey and Bond's stats side by side, look it up to age 30, and then look at it after age 30 for both of them, and paints a really interesting story. Anyways, amazing for Judge.
Yeah, snaps for Judge.
They get it the day after they clinched, and there was some debate if they were going to play him because it'd been 7 or 8 games without a homer. He DHs. He gets it out of the way because, man, oh, man, if he didn't, the last 48 hours would have been, is he feeling the pressure? Is he going to do it? So I'm so happy for him and for us that it's out of the way, and hopefully he sets it tonight where I'll be in the building.
Bar trivia.
Yes.
Who was the manager for Judge's 61st home run? You could say Anthony Rizzo, and you wouldn't be wrong.
The Don Antonio Rizzo. Blue Jays. Hey, go on. Stay strong. They are 1 up in the loss column. And, man, you're talking about a massive potential swing. Because if they hold on, they get home field in Toronto. Vlad's house, as he told you. But if one of those two teams catches you, they have the tiebreaker. And think about it. Do we want to stay in Toronto and have our raucous home crowd and we get last licks? Or fly to Seattle? Or fly to Tampa? Toronto, this week is going to be a big test for you. I know the baby Jays can be a little brash and good. They're young, they're talented. Eat it up, baby. But make sure you finish this last week strong. Because, man, packing those bags for a flight to Seattle would not be a good time.
No, and we've been calling for them to go have a banger month, dude. Like you kind of been middling all single year, like just slightly above 500, slightly above 500. Let's get hot, roll into the playoffs. I mean, they're 17-10 in September. If they do finish strong, they can have a 700 winning percentage rolling into the playoffs. I think that's kind of like what you hope for. You host that 3 games, go into the playoffs hot. Peter Moylan says he thinks the teams that have the bye have a disadvantage, and I've been saying the exact opposite for a long time. But there is an interesting argument to make about, being in the shit and just kind of like not taking your eyes off a 95-mile-an-hour fastball for 3 days and then expecting to come back and do it. So it's on the pitching side, I think it's 100% an advantage for the team that has the bye. But Peter swayed me a little bit on the offensive side. I understand like the timing aspect of it. So they could be in a really good position, man. If they host and they're hot,
right?
Like they're one of the teams that you're like, oh shit, they got hot at the right time.
If you host, actually, no, I'll take it back, because if you go on the road and you do it too, I think if you win the first 2 games and that's it, that's all, I think that's a best case scenario. You save a little extra bullpen and another arm, and like you're dialed up for the next series. I've said it with Mets and Braves. Whoever ends up in the wild card, I kind of love that for them, because their big dudes are going to be lined up for games 2, 3, 4. Like you're still okay. If not better than okay. So we will see. Enough Yankees talk.
Let's talk briefly about the Guardians-Rays series.
Yeah.
As of right now, that would be a playoff series. It'd be the exact same series, and the Guardians do take 2 or 3. And this is after they've clinched. They've clinched the 3rd seed. They've clinched the division. So, like, they don't have to be going and playing the way they're playing. And Frank Kona had a quote on that. He said, I expected that. I think they like to play baseball. We wanted to work it where if we did hit it, we didn't have to that's a whole different thing. I like that quote though, when he says, I think they like to play baseball, because when you do watch them, that is the idea that you get from the Guardians. Like in this series, it was a bunch of hustle plays that won them the game, like beating out infield singles, putting pressure on the defense, avoiding hitting into double plays, like running hard and beating out that second throw. I mean, it was straight up what everyone talks about with Cleveland, like bat to ball, tough outs. And I think we're going to find that type of baseball can play really well in the postseason, especially I feel like in a longer game set, it plays more. And I'm not sure if that's accurate or not. In my mind, like in a 3-game set, a couple 3-run homers can win the whole thing from you. But in a longer set, when you're chopping and fouling pitches off and you're extending pitch counts for the bullpen and the starting pitchers, and I think it takes its toll more and more as the series goes on. So I think if they can get past this 3-game series, I think they're in a good spot.
Constant pressure, and if there's more opportunities to apply that pressure, I think you're right. On the Rays side of it, Tyler Glasnow,
yes,
with 3 innings pitched in a start this series. Holy smokes! How much will he be a part of their October? I have no idea. Pete Fairbanks in the back of that pen has been gross lately. So I've asked you this before, Trev, and you kind of poo-pooed it, and I'll do it one more time quick. Bieber pitches in this game, 6 innings pitched, 4 earned run. Does he, knowing he could be on the mound against this team in a week, in a game that really matters, is he, I don't know, is he changing his pitch mix at all, or is he focused on different things than he normally would be if it was need to get every out?
He could be holding back in certain situations. If they saw something they can exploit with a hitter, they might have kept off of it. I don't think he was really, I watched some of his start. It didn't look like he was holding much back. He was just pitching. But maybe they have found something in the numbers and something in the data that they want to exploit, and they'd stop there. But it seemed to me like it was a regular start. Some guys just have to do that.
Right.
They just have to go out and pitch. And certain pitchers pitch to their strengths, others pitch to hitters' weakness. It looked like to me he was just doing his thing.
Tristan McKenzie, our guy, 6 innings, 1 earned. His ERA on the year, 2.99. Hey,
we
baby.
love that.
Hey, baby. Him and Bieber. And yeah, the Guardians, I watched some of this game on MLB Network last night. The Guardians are fun, man, and they are pesky, and they believe, and their dugout's kind of rowdy because they're young guys that want to, feast on you. And Jose Ramirez and Oscar Gonzalez, they were, acting as the hitting coaches, yelling at their dudes. It's really good vibes over there. And, yeah, I know AL Mid, I haven't given you a ton of respect this year. The Guardians are fun, and where their product has landed is cool, and I'm very interested to see them host 3 games against one of these teams, which, all add their different elements. What else do we need, Trev? Just a little Mariners?
Little Mariners talk here. They win 2 out of 3. They get the magic number down to 1. It was an awesome victory last night with the J.P. Crawford walk-off. We have a stat. It was a tweet, and I'm sure Mariners fans are probably sick of this. They probably heard it a lot, but for the rest of us, just let us have some fun with it. The last time the Mariners made the playoffs, there were 5,273 Blockbuster video locations in operation in the United States. I think there's one now, right? It's like some weird place in Oregon because Oregon does weird stuff.
Yeah.
This is a long time coming. Like you said, this celebration might be one for the ages. Who was it that said, I want my guys to go out there and just go nuts? They're young. I don't care what time they come home. I think it was Tito. They've earned it. Go crazy. I feel like the same thing with the Mariners, who last year fell short. And then we questioned them at the beginning of this year. Is this for real? I declared them dead.
Yeah.
And they answered the bell. And they're going to end the postseason drought in Seattle. And they're going to hand it off to the Phillies.
Yeah.
But that party's going to be awesome, man. They're already dancing on the field. Can you imagine what they're going to be doing in the clubhouse? I mean, last night after the walk-off, there was all of them in essentially a dance circle.
Yeah.
That's what you call it. They're having fun, man. And it's so cool to see the joy. And I mentioned a lot of guys saying they've had visions of this. Okay. J.P. Crawford, I've been waiting for 4 years for this. I can't wait. Mitch Haniger, I think we're all excited. We need to get home and try to get a good night's sleep because it's probably going to be tough to fall asleep tonight because they're just thinking about it. Marco Gonzalez, I've been thinking about this moment. We're on the cusp. The job's not finished. When these guys finally get to finish the job, get them a Roman swipe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That Seattle team, our guy, Big Dumper. That rotation, Gilbert, Castillo, Ray in a 3-game set. Good luck. Sewald, Munoz, Swanson, Castillo at the back end. They are really good. They need a couple guys to get healthy. They'd love a good update from Julio. Your boy, Eugenio, just came back.
Yeah.
So let's see what they look like come that wild card series, because a couple important bodies there. And I'll send this message out there, and I think there's some irony to it, because I'm going to say don't be that guy. Again, I opened up the show wearing a candy necklace and ball player shades.
That's Rave Jake's necklace right there. I know that.
Don't be the person that says oh, Mariners, they clinch a wild card spot and they're partying like this. If you think you're even close to becoming that person, the New York Yankees, who are one of the stiffest franchises in sports, when they clinch the division, they let it rip. And guys that normally don't give answers in press conferences and they do the talk and we're the Yankees, blah, 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 they let it eat. Because baseball is a grind, and you need to. Whether it's Francona or Boone, whoever it is, anyone in the spectrum of baseball, if you're going to the dance, celebrate it, because you just don't know how many dances you have left. So I hope the Mariners go nuts. I hope they clinch tonight, and on Saturday, everyone's wearing sunglasses in the dugout. Like, rip it up.
People in the chat telling me they do the circle after the games. I know that, but they don't do it with 25 people out there. I haven't seen that. Usually it's reserved for 3 or 4. But go off, young Kings.
They have fun.
You deserve this, man.
They have fun. They have a lot of good young guys. Mitch Haniger has been going for them. Circle that.
Kelenic had 2 homers.
How about the kid, Kelenic?
What's up, dog?
Mets Revenge Series.
Chat, answer this question. I think I know the answers. Kelenic on the postseason roster at all?
What do you think it is?
I don't. If Julio's back, no.
Okay.
He's coming back, right? So
it's a good question. I don't know. Playoff roster.
White Sox Twins. We're actually going to talk about a couple Twins later on the show. That's all they get. I do not want to talk about the White Sox. They're officially eliminated. Has that happened in between our last shows? I think it has. They're eliminated. Bye-bye.
Oh. Trev, I think the only topic left is your boy Shohei. Showtime. Man, oh man.
Don't get me started on this, Jake. I got ammo, bro. I have ammo right now. So, like, you just talk about Shohei. I don't know.
Here's what I'll tell you. I love storylines. The people know this. When I saw through 6 innings, Trevor, I was going to bed last night, and I was spending time with my sweet Jessica, and we have been spending a lot of time together. What was that?
She's beautiful. She's beautiful.
She is beautiful. Made love. She started a new job. The Judge home run race has been going on. We're getting ready for playoffs. We've been busy. I was like, you know what?
Weddings.
We're planning a wedding. I threw on Guardians Rays for a little bit. And even then, I was like, you know what? Let's not. We watched a little bit of a Bill Burr stand-up live at Red Rocks. You know, very Bill Burr, entertaining. Called my dad. It was his birthday. Anyways, finished Scrubs. We head to the bedroom. I don't want to go into detail there. It's time to go to bed. And I'd laying in bed, I was like, I'll do one last check of the phone. And I see that Shohei is no hit through 6. And I say, son of a bitch. Because if in the middle of this whole thing, Judge in the home run race, Shohei doing something that's never been done, if he got to swing that big thing out there and say, oops, no hitter, that changes things. I almost put a $5 bet on Shohei to win the MVP live.
You're not allowed to say that. I was waiting for you to say that. You're not allowed to say that. If you think Judge is the MVP, you can't tell me that. I don't know his name. Do we have it here?
Shohei Ohtani?
No. I don't know. The guy for the A's. I don't even know who he is, okay? Great job last night. Hits the ball off the end of the bat, Jake.
Yeah.
And it finds a hole.
Yeah.
If you're telling me that swing changes the MVP race, I hate you. Yeah. I hate you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, bro. That doesn't make any sense. This guy has done everything that you could do.
Right.
He's not going to win the MVP. I've already convinced myself of that. I think he should. Not taking anything away from Judge. But don't sit here and tell me that if he had a no-hitter under his belt, that he should be the MVP. Don't tell me that.
I won't. But it would have been fun to talk about, right? No, man. It's some things aren't fair. I understand what MVP is supposed to stand for. This country loves a winner. He's not on a winner. I know you feel that shouldn't affect MVP because it isn't an individual award. But Trev, you know how Vegas works, and you know where the judge odds are at, so you know what's going to happen. If the Angels were a wild card team, don't you think those Vegas odds would be significantly different?
Excuse me, I'm going back. Kelenic is going to be on the roster. Okay. What'd you say again right there?
If the Angels were a playoff team, do you not think the Vegas odds for Ohtani? Vegas doesn't mess. I'm asking you a question. I know your stance on it. I'm asking you a question. If the Angels were a playoff team, do you not think Ohtani's MVP odds would be significantly different?
I do, and that's a problem.
I realize it's not our fight, and whenever you say it, I don't have a counter to it. If you switch Judge and Ohtani, the Yankees are still good and the Angels still stink. But I think that Pompum circumstance, is that the right word? Of Ohtani being on a loser and Judge being on a winner is what changes it.
Okay.
And I know it's not a great answer.
Let's move on.
But it's America's
I can't do it.
answer.
I've talked too much about it. It's because I come off like sounding like I don't like Judge, which is horrible.
Right.
And, we got some yahoos in the chat here saying, "Oh, you played for the Twins. No wonder you don't like the Yankees."
Yep.
Hey, bro, I massacred the Yankees. Okay, let me tell you that right now.
Second
deck, Yankee Stadium. Not many people been up there. Your boy been up there.
Yeah.
I love the Yankees. When the Yankees do well, we do well. Okay. It's just that I think what Shohei is doing is incredible. That's it, man. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
You're not wrong. Houston lines everything up. Christian Walker, 36 homers this year. Yup. Dalton Varsho, 27 ding-dongs. We play for rings in the desert next year. While Houston is an absolute wagon. And they do have the easiest path to the playoffs currently. The NL's a bloodbath. We'll see what the Yankees look like in a couple days. We got a couple old men trying to go on broken bodies. DJ LeMahieu, Matt Carpenter. Who knows what the Yankees are going to look like in a couple weeks. Anything else?
Playoff roster season is my favorite season too.
It's I'm so glad Jimmy compared it to this when he tweeted it out the other day. I'm not the biggest playoff roster guy. I'm very much like, hey, let's wrap the party up and then we'll figure it out. Like, 3 of these relievers could stink and be hurt in a week. But he compared it to one of my favorite things in the world, mock drafts. I could do and watch mock drafts of any sport, any day, all day. And that's where Jimmy is with the Yankees playoff roster. So it's a fun topic around here.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Yes.
I want you to answer it truthfully. You're on a playoff team. You're 26th, 25th dude, kind of at the end of the roster.
Right.
They tell you you're not going to be on the team for this round, but you're going to be with the team in case somebody gets hurt. There's a chance you play in the next round because your skill set matches up better there. Is there a part of you that's kind of stoked on that the pressure's gone from that series? Or are you so mad because you want to feel that?
I would be frustrated that I'm not having the opportunity to help my team. But then if that all played out, if the DS happened and my team advanced and everything was honest, I was really good against lefties. That team didn't have any lefties, so they didn't use me. But then I come on the CS roster, I would walk in like the biggest peacock in the world. Oh, now you need me.
Let's go.
Let's do it. Let's go to the World Series. Yeah.
I love it.
I feel like every player talks about how tough it is to not be playing in those games. That's when you get nervous. It's when you play, you get to affect it and be part of it. CC especially always says that.
Right.
The games he didn't pitch were when he was very nervous. But if you just know for sure you're not going to be involved, because I guess if you're just always staying ready, you have the chance to affect this later. So I don't know. I don't know where I'd land.
Well, BBD, where you're going to land is our standout performances. Standout performances are brought to you by DraftKings. I was wondering, I had a couple losing bets. I went for the Jamar Chase TD last night. Didn't happen. He didn't get used a lot, and that's fine. But I had more money in my DraftKings account. I was like, what's going on? All my preseason baseball bets had cashed.
All of them.
That says LinkedIn on it.
Luckily, this isn't a DraftKings ad. It's for LinkedIn. LinkedIn. I just wanted to get that off my chest.
You just want to let us know that you did good.
This can't happen. LinkedIn. I told you guys, and I just got a DM this morning. Someone asked me on LinkedIn if I was going to be at the Yankees game tonight. I didn't respond because I'm busy. I'm recording. But LinkedIn is the number one place that you can check out jobs and list your own jobs. We found a lot of people in our office. We got a lot of employees here. I think 63 we did a head count the other day. That's crazy. And a chunk of them came from LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/talkin. That's linkedin.com/talkin to post your job for free. Guys, you know LinkedIn. You're on LinkedIn. I told you, befriend me. I will accept your request about every 2.5 weeks. I accept every LinkedIn request. And it's the number one job site in the world. So if you're hunting or looking, go check out linkedin.com/talkin and post your job for free. Standout performances.
Standout.
Trev, I was the leadoff hitter today.
I'll go if you want me to go. I'm fucking ready.
I want you to go because I've got a little mashed potatoes for the people.
Beebs, I sent you a little article that pertains to this particular standout performance. I'm giving it to Zack Greinke. Is he on a team that's not playing for anything? Of course. He's back with the Royals. He goes 7 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, 2 Ks, 4 hits, 1 walk. Ho-hum, Zack Greinke does it again. The reason I'm giving him this standout is because, one, he got his ERA down into the 3s, and that's the kind of pitcher he is. He has his ERA in the 3s. 3 is a significant number for Zack Greinke. He's made $330 million in his career. But the article I'm referencing, it's an Athletic article. BBD will link it in the description. It's like a collection of like stories from his teammates. And they've done this like multiple times throughout his career. They'll just go start talking to people about Zack Greinke. And there's like just hilarious little anecdotes that all of his teammates now, front office people, they all weigh in. It's such a fun read. It's so funny. And if you don't know Zack Greinke, like this will give you an idea of what kind of like person he is. He's kind of introverted, like very introverted, but at the same time, like people say he's one of the funnier guys you're ever going to be around. There's a story about him like walking by a bunch of guys in the hotel lobby in Dallas. And I guess there's a golf simulator and a bunch of them are playing. And he had like all his family. They just gotten into town. And so he's like, I'm going to go walk my family up. And then they said he came back like 5 minutes later, barefoot, and just started playing golf with them. And he said, I'd just rather be playing golf with you guys right now. Like, it's just weird, funny stuff like that. Go check it out. I don't know if that's the best example I could have given, but I thought that was pretty funny. So congrats, Zach.
If you want to dig into the Zack Greinke corners of the internet, you'll find a lot of good stuff. Some just over the top silly stuff, some kind of socially awkward, some introverted. And wherever it does end with an incredible baseball career. And I mean how Zack Greinke, end of September, still twirling it for a casual 7-inning shut piece. Good for him, and I wonder what's next for him, you know?
You never know. He'll do whatever he wants, dude.
He could be on the Astros
He's
next
a scratch
year.
golfer. If he says in the article, a bunch of the guys say, like, he'll ask you, like, what's your handicap? And if you give him a number that's too high, he goes, we'll never play together.
Direct.
He would just smoke you in golf too, and that would hurt me.
Couple LinkedIn requests coming in right now. It's a great standout. Trev, I'm doing a little mashed potato combo. I'm going to throw my guy Anthony Santander out there from the Orioles. He's put up a full-blown big boy season, 33 ding-dongs. He had a couple 2-homer games this week, and he's been a big part of the Orioles' breakout, so I want to show him some love. And then there was another guy I wanted to give love to who has just been out of his dome for a while now. And it's Marcus Semien. There's a lot of different ways you can chop it up. He had a 2-homer game against Seattle the other day. He has been going nuts for the second half of the season. And remember how atrocious his start was? I mean, he had through May 26th, his OPS was in the 4s. Since then, he's been Marcus Semien, and he is rolling 26 homers on the year, 99 runs, 24 swipes. We mentioned it briefly, and it wasn't going to be a big Texas Rangers show, although our guy Young, right, Josh, he did some good stuff.
Couple homers, big neck.
Seager, that neck, like Texas has something brewing, and hopefully it matters more next year. But I want to give those boys some love. Josh Young, a 2-homer day.
Heck yeah, bro. Heck yeah. Rangers all the way. You know I always say that. Big fan of that organization.
Bryce Wilson, the Bryces. Bryce Wilson and Bryce Elder. Altuve had a 2-homer day. Some good options.
I was almost going to do a Tolkien baseball with Elder because obviously there's a lot. That's an Elvish name, and he could have went a lot of different ways there. I love the way that sinker. What'd you say? It falls off the table, baby.
It's there and it's gone. You know?
Can't wait till we go backwards and we have a bunch of guys throwing 88-mile-an-hour sinkers in this game because everyone's geared up for 105. It's going to be so sick.
They're everybody's changeups, right? Trev, let's hype up some people to finish the year strong. Slump Watch. Trev, there's a couple guys on this list, a couple guys we're going to be talking about a lot to wrap up the year. Randy Arozarena, 0 for 13.
Randy, no one cares about the regular season. The best to ever do it. You stumbled in to a game-winning run. I believe you're about to go on a run with no stumbles, if you know what I mean. Randy, just stay the course. Get the boots ready. Get them shined up. Play it because the bright lights are turning on.
Your guy, Cody Bellinger, 0 for 10.
Cody, I said this to another former MVP just yesterday. You're one of the best players in the best league in the world. Remember to always have that confidence. Everybody's numbers start back at 0 in the postseason. Nobody gives a shit about the regular season when you go win an MVP of a series award, which I believe Cody Bellinger might just do.
I hope you're saying the same thing to my guy, Giancarlo Stanton, 0 for 9.
Giancarlo, I'm going to say this to you straight up because you're from the 818 and you can take it. Notre Dame High, stand up, Crespi High alum right here. You got to step it up. We got to have you providing protection. We've seen you do it in the postseason. We've seen you take the postseason over with your swings. I believe you have that in you. You know you have it in you. It's almost like rinse and repeat. Lights come on, Giancarlo shows up. That's what you do, big guy. Unless you're in the club when you want the lights down. I know Giancarlo likes the club a lot. If you win the World Series also, Giancarlo, if you have something back here in LA, let me know.
Josh Naylor, 0 for 8, and Dansby Swanson, 1 for 15.
Naylor, keep the intensity always. It doesn't matter if you're 0 for 8 or 8 for 8. The intensity is what makes you you. I need you to continue to do it. Okay, you clinched. You got a pat on the butt. Let's go. Job's not done. I think you know that. Being from Canada helps Josh Naylor out a lot. Just like being from the South, I think helps Dansby out. Let me tell you something, Dansby. You are going into the offseason and you're going to be a free agent. Okay? Let's all remember Carlos Beltran and what he did to himself in that postseason, 2004, 2005. I think you've had an excellent year. You've already set yourself up for a great contract. But go off and be a king in this postseason, win another ring, and I promise you, that's worth like what? 30, 40 million probably? There's some motivation for you, player.
Extra year on that contract would be a real treat.
Give me some hair flips.
Trev, that brings us to
Dirt Nasties on Fuego. That means I'm on fire, baby. Like Waco.
Run it, Trev.
Anthony Santander, you stud. 5 for 19 with 4 Jimmy Jacks. Taylor Ward, are we back in April? 7 for 11, 2 homers. JD Martinez doing his thing. 7 for 17, 2 homers. Matt Olson, date Jake's daughter. It's time for the playoffs. 4 for 9 with 2 homers. Mitch Haniger, same thing. You can date Jake's daughter. Both of you maybe at the same time. 4 for 10, 2 homers. Josh Jung, you specimen.
My baby
with
girl.
That neck of yours coming into your own with the OPS in the high 7s. 4 for 11, 2 homers, 6 RBI, and it says on here, 1 huge
big
neck. Brian De La Cruz, 5 for 8, a homer, 3 doubles, 3 RBI. And Chuck Peterson. Can you come to the Braves at this point of the season? You can't?
No.
5 for 10, a homer, 2 triples, and 4 RBI. Tristan Casas on the next sheet. My bad. Ooh, good. Nice little week here. 7 for 13, a homer, a double, 3 RBIs, and 5 walks.
I know that the good people in the Commonwealth are hoping this recent heater from Big Tristan Casas is something they could take into next year. A lot of power, country strong. Big boy.
I need Taylor Walls right now.
Who? Yeah,
What's
me too.
his nickname?
Chiropractor. I've been doing a lot of that too. Well, Trev, we are finishing it up. Awards, a stimulator. I think a second to last stimulator. We will see. And speaking of stimulator, how about simulating with Win Reality? You've probably seen Win Reality, the VR baseball training application only available on the Meta Quest 2 that gives players access to unlimited game speed and reps no matter where they are. Trev, you've been looking for the way to counter what the pitchers are doing, and Win Reality might be the one, man. Their pitcher library consists of 600-plus pitchers from 8 under baseball to pro. From the release, spin, speed, hitters get a chance to study every pitch, then hit it in a real game. Gives players of all levels and variety workouts that are focused on pitch recognition, timing, and decision-making. You know who uses Win Reality? Paul Goldschmidt. You know what he might get very soon? The NL MVP. Batters love it. Coaches rave about it. It's a revolutionary tool. It is not a game. It allows you to train wherever you are. Head to winreality.com, spelled how you think, winreality.com/talkin, and sign up today. Players who train with Win Reality report 43% more confidence at the dish. I like that. Go check them out. winreality.com/talkin. If you're getting serious about your ball playing or know a ball player, this is the future. And the future is now.
I need that.
You do.
I hinted at a big tournament coming up. I didn't say anything about it, but there's a big tournament coming up.
Got that,
Awards!
Trevor, you have the honor.
All right, so I know my Twins were a disappointment this year. And all my Twins fans, are kind of like, is the baseball season over with? Like, is Kirk Cousins going to be the MVP? Is Dalvin Cook's shoulder going to fall off?
Right.
We're just wondering all these things. But the Twins have given us a few things to pay attention to, and I kind of like these things. You guys know about one, but I'm going to go with another one also. We're going to start off with a happy one. Matt Wallner, Minnesota boy. I think he went to Mississippi State. That's an interesting combination right there. He hit a ball, Jake. 113 miles an hour at a 45-degree launch angle. It went for a homer and had a hang time of almost 7 seconds. Here it is. BBD is showing it right now. Whack. He doesn't even know where this ball is. And people, by the time this ball lands, Byron Buxton would have been on second base. It's just one of these homers that you got to watch and watch again because you're like, what happened? It looked like he popped it up, but the guy is strong. He's a big old donkey. I hate calling people that, but that's a good word to describe him. It just hung in the air for so long. I love homers like that. So I wanted to give a shout out to little Matt Wallner. Watch it again real quick right here. Little Joey Gallo to him, right?
3, 4.
Was I giving you guys flashbacks?
5, 6, 7. Yeah.
So I loved it. I wanted to shout that out. And then another thing that I kind of love that's actually just really funny, the Carlos Correa quote. Okay, we all know the situation with Carlos. He has the opt-out. He's vocally said he likes being in Minnesota. He'd like to be there. And now I lost. Why did I lose my thing here?
Going shopping at Dior, Big Daddy?
He says, when I go, I want to get the real quote, okay? We might have to edit this, maybe not. I had it up, and then I clicked off of it.
We're live.
Oh, we're live right now? Got it. Ready?
Ready.
He had this to say about his upcoming contract situation. I go to the mall, and I go to the Dior store, and I want something. I get it. I ask how much it costs, and I buy it. So if you really want something, you just go get it. I'm the product here, and if they want my product, they just have to come get it. You don't hear people being so forthright too often in Major League Baseball. It happens sometimes in the other sports. We have holdouts. We have people forcing trades in the NBA, stuff like that. But in baseball, it just really never works that way. But with these opt-outs and the way he's performed later in the season, he's realizing he's got some leverage. And like, is it like a little cringe? Yeah, it is a little cringe. That's fine to say that, but he's right. It can be cringe and it can be right, people. If they want him in Minnesota, they know what it's going to take. He says, come ask me, I'll tell you. And if you want it, you can get it. Because that's what he does at the store, at the Dior store. I thought it was just kind of a quote I had to talk about.
It's been funny because Correa has played the game all year, and he's had the good quotes, and he also kind of was banged up and off to a slow start. That, like you said, you and the good people in Minnesota are like, yeah, he likes it here. The Dior quote makes me think he might test free agency.
What? We have a Dior store? No, we probably don't, actually.
In the Mall of America, there's got to be a Dior store.
So, Chad, help us out. I don't think there is. So maybe he's already hinted he's gone.
Dior store, Minneapolis, Mall of America. Bang.
Makes sense.
It was funny. It's Carlos Correa.
He embraces the heel role. We all know that. It's like he wants to be loved, but he also enjoys playing the heel. It's an interesting dynamic with Carlos.
He is him in a way. Trev, a fantastic standout. Trev, I'm gonna bring back the old tale, literally, of the tortoise and the hare. We have complimented the Mets and Uncle Stevie on their offseason numerous times. Mark Canha has been a stud for them. A lot of big moments. Max Scherzer, obviously, is Max Scherzer. Chris Bassett. Don't sleep on him in the 1930s. The other guy who I love, one of my favorite players in baseball, Eddie Escobar, one of your guys. You shared the clubhouse with him. You've been on the flights with him, and he's, high energy, good guy, versatile. Didn't he end up on the Brewers last year playing some first base? What was going on there? He's on the Mets. He got off to a solid start. Good first month. But then, 82 games from May 5th to September 1st. That's a lot of the baseball season. Eddie Escobar was 205, 234, a 607 OPS. It just wasn't it. He was the transaction that Mets fans didn't really want to talk about. I don't want to say it became a punching bag, but it's when you see that much of that brand of baseball, it's tough to get excited for a guy. And then here he is, September 2nd to September 28th. The final legs of this season, the Braves breathing down the neck of the New York Mets. And what's Eddie bust out for these 24 games? 341 batting average, a 390 on base, a 1.049 OPS, an MVP 4 weeks from Eddie Escobar, including being highlighted at the end by a 5 RBI day. All 5 RBIs in a game won by 1 run in extras over the Miami Marlins that could have been a Taylor Walls, a backbreaker, chiropractor night. 5-tool light, Eddie Escobar. His season stats now feel like Eddie Escobar, or close to. And man, you want to make fans in New York or wherever you play put a stretch like this together when your team needs it. Because they're 14-10 in that stretch, Trev. And if he doesn't play like this, I don't know what we're talking about this weekend. I think we might be talking about the Mets chasing the Braves going into this series.
It's incredible. If you want to get to know Eddie at all, just go watch his post-game press conference after that walk-off. He's just good vibes, man. We've been saying it all along. He's kind of exactly what that clubhouse needed. Because I know this. Even when he was struggling in those months you were talking about, he was still Eddie Escobar, showing up with a smile on his face, getting his work in. And that's the kind of person, when you have an example like that, man, it really helps out everybody else in the clubhouse over that long season. It was awesome to see it, too, because he hits the homer, and then he hits, 2 shift beaters, essentially, one from either side of the plate, dude. Just kind of grinder-ish at bats. And he can do that, man. He can grind out at bats for you. He can hit for power. Postseason hero, Eddie Escobar, I'm here for. I'm here for it.
In that stretch, he has 5 2-hit games. He has 3 3-hit games and 1 4-hit game. Eddie coming through in a big September for the Mets, and I know he's your guy. BBD, give us a best friend, and let's hit a second to last stimulator.
I think so. If we do one right before, I think we can.
Hit it.
But our best friend is Jameson Taillon. Gets his 5th, 6th crack at the Blue Jays this year. Gets into the 8th inning, 7.1, 2 earned, 6 Ks. They clinched the AL East in that game. His 5th best friend of the week award.
Hey, why did Taillon get past the mic during after Boone talked before they popped the champagne? What was that about?
They give out a belt every win. So he was the belt that game.
He won the belt that day.
So it wasn't like a season thing. It was just they're winning. They're winning.
Do you remember interviewing Jameson Taillon in the back of some warehouse in Bradenton, Florida, when he was on the Pirates?
Sure
4
do.
blocks from Pirates place.
Sure do.
Let me tell you how excited I am for this stimulation. I brought out my Mr. Sketch scented marker, and I'm about to sniff it right now.
BBD, hit the music as we send you
Got me going
into it with the stimulation. Let's do the American League, where the Guardians and Rays, who just played would be lined up for 3 in Cleveland.
It's Cleveland.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for Cleveland. Buster Olney just tweeted about how good they've been. Good for them. The Blue Jays and the Mariners in the great north of Toronto.
Seattle.
Oh, boy. If that happens, Blue Jays Nation. The Yankees. The 2 versus the 3. The Yankees host the Guardians. Best of 5.
Yanks.
The Yankees. 9-1 in their last 10, I believe. Good for
Good time
them.
to get hot.
Astros, Mariners. A little AL West.
Astros.
Yeah.
Collision course all year.
That will leave the Astros and the Yankees for the CS. Holy smokes. Let's go to the National League. In the wild card, the Cardinals currently would host the Phillies.
The Cardinals.
Seems about right.
Yep.
Right
like
now,
it.
unfortunately.
Feels a little too easy.
Feels about right about now. Waiting to play the Dodgers is the winner of the Braves hosting the Padres.
The Braves.
Braves advance. Mets Cardinals. We've heard this one a couple times.
I'm seeing the Cardinals.
Oh my God.
Stimulator pops up and BBD sees the Cardinals. Mets. Heartbreak as the Dodgers play the Atlanta Braves.
Braves.
No.
Braves do it again. They take down the big bad Dodgers. And in the National League, Braves versus Cardinals to go to the World Series.
It's Jay Flair's Cards.
Huge Cardinals episode. I think
Friend.
they went last Stimulation. Cardinals fever is sweeping the Stimulator. And Yankees Astros best of 7.
Oh. Houston.
Oh my God.
Back-to-back weeks, the Stimulator has the Houston Astros and the St. Louis Cardinals in the World Series. Your winner is
The Cardinals.
Devil magic.
St. Louis, Jack Flaherty. I mean, are we going down for the parade? Are we going up for the parade?
We're in the clubhouse. We're in
Which
the
floats
clubhouse.
are?
Yachty, Pujols. Everyone have a great weekend.
Jake sucks.
I didn't hear the music. Jake sucks.
NL East. Woo. Figure it out.
It's the weekend.